Hello everybody, if it's your first time with us today, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Today we are going to continue with our tactical motifs, looking at yet another one here today, and that's going to be the motif of interference. So what is interference? How can we utilize that and put the screws to our opponent in some of our games? Well, let's go ahead and jump right in at our first position here. You can see we've got the white pieces, and black has placed a rook all the way down here at f3 with his last move, and he's attacking our poor knight on g3. How are we going to respond to this threat? Well, so remember today our motif is going to be interference. So what is that? Interference occurs when we are disconnecting the ability of two of the enemy pieces to work together. So two of the pieces such as rooks, queen and rook, bishop and queen. Bishops, rooks, and queens are the three that can really help to support each other. So we're going to cut off their ability to do that. So for example, right now, this rook on f3, he's defended by his buddy, the rook on f8. And our queen is putting some pressure on him. If we can disconnect their ability to work together, we can potentially win that rook. So what's the move here in this position? Take a minute and think about it. And if you see it, let's go ahead and play it out here. The move's going to be knight to f5. And now not only is the knight no longer under attack on g3, but also the poor rook is no longer defended, and we will be able to capture him on the next move. He can choose to either take our knight or our bishop, but either way, we will win the exchange of rook for minor piece. So that is our first look at the interference problem. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one here. The last problem we saw how we could disconnect that ability of two rooks to work together. Interference can also work from a defensive point of view. So this time we've got the black pieces, and what we'll notice is that white has set up the powerful battery of bishop and queen, and he's taking aim at our poor king over here, wants to play the move queen to h7 with checkmate. How can we stop this? How can we make sure that we keep ourselves into the game, give ourselves some fighting chances? Once again, using that theme of interference. So, our knight over here, hanging out on c5, we're going to play knight to e4. And once we do that, now suddenly the bishop is no longer protecting the queen, so the queen cannot come to h7. Of course, he could trade the pieces, but we're going to have an equal position, maybe one that's even slightly better for black, as he has a little bit of space advantage, more pawns in the center of the board. And suddenly it went from a menacing attack to nothing to worry about at all for black. So not only can we use interference in order to win some pieces, we can also use it as a nice defensive resource. We're going to give one more problem here. Make sure that you've really drilled the idea of interference in. And this time, let's look at an endgame. So, we have white once again in this position, and things are looking a little bit grim. Black has a rook in exchange for a bishop on f1, and black also has a nice pawn chain all on the dark squares. Our bishop cannot attack it, and a protected pass pawn on c3. This looks as if it could be very bad for white. Black wants to play his rook over to h8 and gobble up our last pawn, and we will lose the game soon to follow. So how could we use interference to save the game for white? Turn the tables here. Take a quick second, see if you can find the idea. What can we do to turn this game around for the white pieces? Alright, let's take a look at it here. First move is going to be bishop to c4 check. Playing that check on the enemy king, he has to move after a move such as, let's say, king to d4. Now, what's the follow-up? Here's the real move that brings it home. Bishop to g8. And this is interference because we are blocking the rook's protection of the h8 square. The rook no longer covers that square. And next move, we're going to be able to play h8, make a queen, and go on to win the game. Nothing black can do to stop this. Even if on the last move, black had tried to run his king over to the pawn, after bishop g8, king f6, too slow, not close enough, we'll still play h8 and make our queen. So not only can we use interference to potentially win pieces, cut off coordination between two pieces that are working together, we can also use it to cut off the enemy's eyeing of a square that's critical to us, such as h8 in this situation. We're stopping the rook from being able to get there, and we're able to go on and win the game. Hopefully this gives you a good explanation of just what interference is. Now you can look forward in your games, and I look forward to seeing what sharp tactical ideas and victories you have in your games to come. If you've liked the video, be sure to hit the like button, share it, and put any comments, questions you may have below. Best of luck in your games to come.